Hello, my name is Zachariah with Old Man Gaming, and welcome to another Snap Judgement review. What is a Snap Judgement review? Well, I play a game for about 5 to 10 hours. I'm trying to give you an idea whether you're going to enjoy it right off the bat. I think a lot of reviews, because they're forced to play the entire thing, sometimes they overlook the fun factor at the beginning. So that's what I do here. Because of that and the subjective nature of video games, I do not give scored reviews. Instead, I will tell you the overview of the game. I'll tell you the pros and the cons of the game in my point of view, as all reviews are. And then I'll tell you whether I will be sticking with the game outside the purposes of this review or not. Disclaimers out of the way. What am I reviewing today? Remnant 2. I am super excited about this. So I actually waited on this game. This is the only game in the history of video games that I paid early access for when the reviews came out last Friday, and we're all 8 to 10s across the board. And so I did. I made the jump, and this is the first time I don't regret it. This game is amazing, but we're going to get into it. What is Remnant 2? Remnant 2 is a direct sequel to Remnant 1. The game itself, I'm going to try not to give out spoilers, but basically you are a guy who's traveling with a friend. You are trying to find Ward 13, which is kind of the last bastion of human society. The world, this is post-apocalyptic. They found these things called world stones, which allowed them to travel to other worlds. That allowed things to get in that they didn't want in, destroyed society, so this is the last bastion of humanity. You find it, you get there, then a girl who you meet along the way ends up getting sucked in, and it's your job to go into the world stones and rescue her. Everything from that point on is procedurally generated. The story, the narrative, how the thing unfolds. Sometimes you'll be on a world that is a forest, sometimes you'll be on a world that is a cave system, and they'll be the same world. It depends on how your game procedurally generates, which makes things interesting. I really didn't get to see a lot of the procedural generation. I'm only 5 years in, and it takes about 20 to 30 hours to beat the campaign the first time. The whole idea of beating the game the first time is to go into it again with your higher goods at higher difficulty levels and see how it procedurally generates the second, third, fourth time. So I can't really speak to that. I will say this. The procedural generation on this game is seamless. For 5 hours, you could not possibly tell me that this is not handcrafted. It feels handcrafted. The world design feels handcrafted. Every decision in it feels handcrafted as to where I'm supposed to be, who I am talking to. And I'm very impressed with that, which we'll get into later. This is a third-person shooter. You take up an archetype, which is basically like your class. There are 5 classes to start. That slowly unlocks as you level it up new abilities and powers to play with. There's a handler, which is a character with a dog friend. There's a gunslinger, who's all about DPS. There's a challenger, who's all about close combat and melee combat. You also have a medic, who's all about healing, and a hunter, who's all about sniping. All of them seem good, although I spent most of my time with the handler, and I was having an extreme amount of fun, especially since I was playing alone, which I wasn't expecting to have as much fun playing alone as I was with this. With the dog just running around, helping me out, I actually felt like I was in a party. Plus, the game itself really works well as far as the snappiness. A lot of people describe this as Dark Souls with guns. I specifically have stayed away from Dark Souls most of my gaming career. And that is not necessarily because it's a bad game, but because I don't particularly like super hard games. There are some exceptions. Of course, I love Sifu, but overall, I don't particularly love incredibly challenging hard games. And I also don't like the narrative around Dark Souls, the whole get good scrub sort of feel of that. That being said, I would have to compare from what I've seen of Dark Souls to this. There's definitely a stamina bar for dodging and running in combat while you are also shooting things. Every character has a long gun and a short gun. Long gun ammo and short gun ammo is universal, whether it's a machine gun or a shotgun or whatever, which is nice. It makes things simple and easy. Inside the battles, you definitely have to manage your ammo and watch your ammo. It's very easy to run out. It is unlike other shooters like Borderlands, where I almost never felt like I was out of ammo. You can run out of ammo very fast in this game, and you have to really pick and choose when you're fighting, whether you're using your big, more powerful long gun or you're using your handgun where the ammo is more prevalent. The game itself has tons of winding corridors and interesting patterns that procedurally generate in. I myself found a bunch of secret areas that I ended up becoming more involved than the main storyline with. And of course, between your areas, you can always jump back to Ward 13 to buy equipment, level up things, and attach things. There's also a host of secrets in the game that I was not expecting, which we're going to talk about in the pros. So let's get into it. Let's get into the pros and cons. What did I like about the game? What did I not like about the game? Well, we always go positive first. We're going to do pros. First of all, foremost, this game has no bugs. I am shocked by this. Shocked by the fact that in the year of our Lord 2023, we can make a game that doesn't have bugs. Now, I know this is a AA studio, but this feels like a AAA game, especially produced by Gearbox. I kept waiting for the other shoe to fall, and there are a couple of small ones and cons that we're going to talk about. But overall, I didn't notice any bugs. None whatsoever, which is amazing, especially since I'm playing in early access. I'm not even playing after the day one patch. So the fact that it plays seamlessly is impressive to me. I only had some small hitches, which you may or may not see in the video, and that was really because I had overclocked my settings a little bit. I had my frame rate a little bit too high. Once I dropped that down to like 72, I was fine. This game works really well, really well. And that's not even going into the fact that it plays really well. The gunshots feel crisp and smooth. Aiming feels right. The rolling feels smart and well done. It also feels natural when your iframes happen. Not necessarily like some unintuitive thing where it's like, why does my iframes happen before I even start the roll? Stuff like that. It is well balanced in that area. So number two, I want to say, the music is phenomenal in this game. I was enchanted by the background music, especially a musical track, and if I have a sample of it, I'll play it at the end of the video, where you're fighting the Huntress, a boss in one of the Iron Girls, one of the earlier stages. It's just this incredible, like, haunting track that both encapsulates the desperate kind of feel of the fight, while also having this really cool twang and undertone to it that I just loved. My next pro is probably my biggest pro. Secret classes. Secret archetypes. I was so surprised. I have the 5 because one of them is a pre-order thing. We'll talk about that. But I selected Handler, and right at the end of my playtime, just before I turned it off to do this review, I found this strange object in kind of this secret area. Once I found this object, I took it to all the people, and I found one that allowed me to create a new engram. I thought, I just found the class thing for the medic or the gun. No. Completely hidden class called the Alchemist. Of course, I took to YouTube and found out that there are tons of hidden classes in this game. The Invader, the Summoner, the Mechanic, all these classes that you can't start with, but you can easily find them and play them as your main class. I think this is one of the coolest things for replayability, and I personally have always been a fan of classes. If anything, I wish Borderlands would do more of is classes, or at least balance them correctly. With this, there's just tons of them. I don't know what the upward limit is this moment. Are we talking 8, 10 classes, something like that? Especially as you find them in game. I unfortunately have not gotten to the point where you can have 2 classes at the same time, but I'm very much looking forward to that now that I can find these secret archetypes. I think it's one of the coolest parts of this. My next pro is how they handle loot in this. Some people might actually take this as a downside, but don't expect a loot explosion. This isn't Borderlands where guns rain out of the sky every time you shoot something's head off, and then you've got to pick through the trash. What I enjoy about this is the loot that you find is very specific, very focused, and very rare. And that's what I like about it. You can find these mods from defeating bosses or certain different side quests. I don't want to spoil anything. But certain side quest areas give it to you. Those mods you can take back to Ward 13 and have them create a new thing that you can then add to your gun to alter how it shoots, which I think is really cool. I love the idea that the guns themselves aren't necessarily like their own thing, but more or less you're taking a gun, upgrading it, and attaching the mods that you like to it to make it more badass. At least that's how it is 5 hours in, and I think that's really cool. I love the fact that you can find these things, these small things from defeating bosses and bring them back. It's really cool, and it makes the game, like I said, one thing about Borderlands that I hate is that you'll fight a big fight and then you just spend 30 minutes going through the guns. What am I picking up? What am I equipping? What am I taking? And you gotta wait for your friends to do that. With Remnant, it's very focused. You get a couple of things, you pick them up, you can't even do anything with them then anyway. You just move on and keeps the action and flow of the game going really well. As far as the looter-shooter aspects of this game goes, I don't remember a game doing it better than this one, personally. My final pro is the narrative. I think the narrative is the biggest surprise to me on this. I was not expecting to be... Because, first of all, I played Remnant 1. I didn't play it to completion, but I played quite a bit of it. And I enjoyed it. However, a lot of the narrative is told through lore and kind of... I don't know, almost like innuendo and subtlety, which is cool. I think that's interesting, but at the same time, sometimes I just want to know what's going on. With this game, they're much better at the narrative. I really feel attached to the characters in it, and they do the voice acting in this blows the first game's voice acting away. I love the lines and the writing for a lot of the side characters. There's one or two that I find cliched or irritating, but overall, I think they're really good. I love the fact that they attach you to this character Cass in the beginning. I fell quickly in love with Cass. I think Cass is a great character. And then you find out she's just a shop owner. She doesn't even travel with you. I think the narration and the way they do the narration with this procedurally generated stuff and the way that it seems seamless, I have been really enjoying it. And really into the story. Like, I find myself reading lore books, which I never do in games, and I think that that's a testament to how well they're doing it in this game, in my personal opinion. Alright, let's talk about some cons. We gotta get negative. There are a couple of things that I don't like. Number one, I don't like having to pay for early access. Now, I am gonna say right off the bat, this game, you can buy it on the day that this reviews goes out. You can buy it anywhere and everywhere. You don't have to worry about early access anyway. This is coming out on Tuesday the 25th. So is the game, and it is a discounted title. It's not your full-blown $70 game. It only costs $50 for the base line. There's then a deluxe edition and an ultimate edition. The ultimate edition gave you the early access, and that one was for $70. I felt like it was one of the only reasons that I kind of justified myself in getting it, is because I wasn't paying some crazy $100, $120 price tag. I was literally paying the premium price for AAA games nowadays, which is $70, like the baseline premium price. So, and I felt like the extra 2 days was worth the $20, especially after the reviews came out and they were all good. Still, I don't like the idea of paying for early access. Just make the game $70 or make it $60 or whatever. Or release it on the 25th day. I don't think that early access is a good thing. That being said, I also don't like when they lock character classes behind pre-orders. Of the 5 starting archetypes, there is the medic, the challenger, the handler, the hunter, and the gunslinger. The gunslinger is locked behind pre-order. If you did not pre-order, you cannot play that thing. You cannot play that character class. I don't like that. I hate that. Don't cut off chunks of the game before the game is out. The game is what the game is. And I believe truly, in my heart of hearts, this was a decision from Gearbox, not Gunfire Games. I think Gunfire Games is a great company so far. I just think that this is a huge mistake. I do not like when a game comes out with all of the stuff, and then they cut off a piece of it to make you pay more in the beginning or make you pay early. And so that's got to get a big negative for me. I'm not happy about that. Of course, this won't influence your enjoyment of the game. As far as the actual enjoyment of the game goes, most of this game is really solid. They put together a good game here. My biggest problem, though, is they don't... When you're fighting bad guys, the name of the bad guy is not above their head, and it I know that's a little nitpicky, but I really want the names of the bad guys to be above their head, because now I've just taken it's Squiggly Line Guy, or it's Zipper Body Guy, or it's Toad Dude, or Big Axe Guy. And I know they all have names that somebody put thought into behind the lore. So you see the bar above their head, but it's just a bar with some status effects. I don't think it would be that annoying to just put in above it, what that thing is really quickly in small writing, so that I can start to remember what the bad guys are. Kind of in the same vein that Borderlands does it. But that's it. That's really all of the nitpicks I have for this game. I really enjoy it. It's fun to play solo, which I wasn't expecting. I will say there's one other con, and that is there's no crossplay here, guys. If you're playing on PC, you can play with Epic or Steam players, but you cannot play with console players. Console players cannot play with PC players. And what's even more irritating is the first Remnant suffered from this. However, the problem was slightly corrected by the fact that when it came to Game Pass, the Game Pass version put it on the Microsoft PC Store, so it put them in the same ecosystem. This game is not acquirable through the Microsoft PC Store. It's not there. You can only get it on Steam and Epic. So if they do bring it to Game Pass later, I'm going to have to start over to play with my friends who are playing on console, which is a little bit annoying. I think in 2023 we should have crossplay everywhere. I think it's silly to not have it at this point, even with smaller studios. I mean, yes, Gunfire is smaller. Yes, this is hailed as a AA game, not a AAA game, even though it blows AAA games out of the water. But you have the money of Gearbox Publishing behind it. So let's fix that problem. Let's get that crossplay going. And now I'm basically stuck on an island with this game. I can only ever play with people who play on Steam, and I don't have any real friends on Steam. So this should be. So thankfully I really enjoy playing it by myself though. So. Alright, so that's it. Whether or not I'm going to stick with this game, I think you've guessed it, definitely. I really enjoy this game. I'm planning on playing it to completion. I very much enjoy the play. I can't wait to find more archetypes and mess with them, mess with the builds of my characters. I'm really having a lot of fun with it. But what do you guys think? Did you think this review was spot on? Do you agree with this review? Do you hate it? You can comment below and let me know. And then, of course, you can contact us on Facebook at OmegaMDH, on Twitter at OmegaMD9. You can join our Discord. Links in the description below. Influence this and all of our shows from there. So I'm going to keep watching, listen, I'll keep making them. See you guys next time.